proceed.
I can speak.
السلام عليكم.
السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
How are you guys?
Good,
Fine, Mr. Anas. Alhamdulillah.
Good evening.
Good evening to you.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Assalamu alaikum.
Please, your YouTube should be on silent.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
السلام.
Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullah. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Yes.
Good. Alhamdulillah. So I try to make some experiment today by using virtual background. So there will be a look that we are in the classroom.
That's nice. With the green screen.
Yes, with the green screen.
السلام عليكم.
That's good.
السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Why this is just a minute, there is a problem. Those who are joining us, please keep your mobile on YouTube on silent.
MashaAllah, nice classroom, Mr. Anas.
Yes, because we have nice students.
The background is neat.
Even I have make all my
Mr.
browsers.
Anas,
Yes.
I have a question. How about tomorrow? There will be a test with the exam.
Inshallah.
Will you conduct it? So how it will be like when we finish the class then?
Yes. Once you finish the class, Alatul, we will not even give you the time so you can eat something or you can drink something. Or if you eat something, then all knowledge will go inside. From here, it will go on your stomach.
Okay. Okay, no problem.
So guys, shall we start formally?
Yes.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and good evening, everyone. Welcome to this OSHA 30 hours course, class number 3. And today, inshallah, we are going to start some new modules, which consists of hazard communication, materials handling, which includes also the vehicle safety, especially forklift. And then we will be also discussing about confined space. And if we will get some time, then we will be discussing about ergonomics. So let's start with the revision of what we discussed yesterday. You will have 10 minutes. So you can do, and then we will be discussing the answers. Why there is an error? I'm not getting. Sorry. Okay. Can you see the screen now? The polls?
Dogs.
Excuse me, Mr. Anas.
Yes.
Yes, the question number 4 on the poll.
Mhm. Injured
It should
employee, fellow
it should
workers, and
be
so. Yes. Sorry. It should be like this is direct cost or indirect cost.
yes.
Done.
Good. Just a minute. Let the others. Guys, you should come on time. Late coming is not allowed. Yes, guys, fast. These are not much old questions. These are those questions which we have already discussed, everything.
I'm done.
Good.
I'm done.
Good, mashallah. Seven people have done. Still 6 people are remaining.
Actually, I don't have all Mr. Anas.
You have the same problem?
Yes, repeated problem.
Hmm. Allah Akbar, astaghfirullah.
अनस भाई
Yes, फरमाइए.
कल क्लास 4 hours की होगी या छोटी होगी क्लास?
यार डिपेंड करता है आज के ऊपर. आज इंशाल्लाह कोशिश करते हैं मैक्सिमम कवर कर लें ताकि कल 2 घंटे ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा हमारी वो रहे.
कितना बाकी
स्टडीज
है?
देखें, अभी 7th हुआ है ना, टोटल 12 या 13 है मॉड्यूल्स हमारे पास. अब सारे छोटे
जी।
छोटे मॉड्यूल हैं, लेकिन ये मतलब हम एक घंटे के अंदर जो है ना एक मॉड्यूल आराम से कवर कर लेंगे.
अच्छा,
1 घंटे से भी कम है.
अच्छा, एग्जाम की प्रिपरेशन हम बुक से कर सकते हैं ना, जो आपने सेंड की थी?
एग्जाम की प्रिपरेशन करनी है आपने बुक से है?
उन्हीं मॉड्यूल्स को हम लोग सही हो गया, ठीक हो गया.
ये जो हम लोग कर रहे हैं क्वेश्चन आंसर्स, इनमें से भी कुछ क्वेश्चंस एग्जाम में आते हैं इस तरह के.
अच्छा, अच्छा, ये आप क्वेश्चंस वगैरह शेयर कर सकते हैं उस पे, क्या नाम है, व्हाट्सएप पे?
एग्जाम के बाद टेंशन नहीं.
चलें, ठीक है.
नहीं चले, कोई पास पेपर टाइप का हो या कोई एग्जाम्पल हो.
यही है ना एग्जाम्पल. सी देयर आर 2
अच्छा.
सेक्शंस. वन सेक्शन कंसिस्ट ऑफ एमसीक्यूज, वो इन्हीं में से मल्टीपल चॉइस बन जाएंगे कुछ के. और वन सेक्शन कंसिस्ट ऑफ ट्रू फॉल्स, वो भी इन्हीं में से कुछ आएंगे. कुछ अदर देन दीज आएंगे जो कि हमने बुक में से और प्रेजेंटेशन में से पढ़ा. इफ यू हैव
सही.
कवर्ड बुक, इफ यू हैव रीड द बुक, then no problem for me.
That's good. That's good.
Sir, how many items?
Total 2 sections, 15, 15 each. 15 true false and 15 MCQs. Guys, hurry up. Still two of you are remaining. Musa, done? Nizam? Marwan?
Done.
Khwaja?
Yes, I'm done.
And who is remaining?
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. Who is remaining?
I have done so.
Those two who are still remaining, they are silent. I'm going to close it now. Can you see your screen? How many elements of safety are there? Safety management are there. 8. So who has written 7? How many of you have written 7?
8.
Okay, those who have written 7, they should give themselves 0 marks. The others, they can give 1 mark. Objectives must be smart. True.
Yes,
Right.
yes, true.
1 is false. I don't know why he made this false. He was thinking that smart is like the body of objective should be smart. Anyway, smarts are basically specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. So our objectives should also always be smart. So this is true. Goals are short and unstructured statement. This is true. Also true.
True.
So those who have written, there are 2 guys who have written false. So they should give themselves 0 mark. Injured employee, fellow workers, and supervisors, spoiled product. These are all direct cost. So you have written true, false.
So indirect.
Of
cost.
what? Of what?
Indirect cost.
These are all indirect cost. Yes. The
Indirect
option,
cost. Like,
the option should be direct and indirect. It's my mistake. So these are all indirect costs. So instead of true and false, we should give you the option of direct and indirect cost. A standard railing consists of top rail, mid rail, and post, and shall have a vertical height of 46 inch. So this
22, 42, 42
very
inch.
good. Very good. The correct answer is
Not 46.
exactly
42.
very good. Very good. Very good. The correct answer is 42.
Also, Mr. Anas,
So
there is
this
no
is all
thing
false.
46 inch in the course.
So this is false, right? This is false. Fixed industrial stairs shall be strong enough to carry out 4 times the normal anticipated. Is it true or false?
False.
False.
True.
How much? 5 times. 5 times.
It's 5 times. Yes.
5 times. In case of a scaffold, it is 4 times, right? In case of
Yes.
stairs, ladders, it's 5 times. A scaffold designed for 25 Pascals per square feet is considered as light duty scaffold. Is it true or false?
True.
Yeah, most of you have written true. Yes, correct. This is true. An exit route consists of 3 parts: exit access, exit, and assembly point. This is
False.
false.
Exit discharge.
Very good.
Exit discharge.
Very good. The correct answer is access, exit, and exit discharge. Plan, prepare, respond, and resume are the elements of fire prevention plan. This is incorrect because these are the elements of emergency action plan.
Emergency action plan.
Yes. Very good.
Yes.
So those who have written true, they should give themselves 0 answer. CO2 extinguishers are inspected by means of a weigh rather than pressure gauge. Yes, this is correct. This is true. Those who have written false, yes, because there is no gauge on gas-based fire extinguishers.
There is no gauge, but yesterday we speak that.
What we speak?
About CO2 fire extinguisher. What?
We discussed that those extinguishers which are having other mediums, for example, DCP, for example, foam, they will have the gauge, but in case of gas, CO2, there is no gauge because the gas will occupy all the area, right? So if the gauge is installed, then it will always be showing the full, even if the gas is very less. So that's why we need to measure the CO2 fire extinguishers by means of weight rather than by means of pressure. Okay, so this is false. So how many marks?
9.
I get 6.
Let me ask you
7.
one by one. Mr. Rushdi. You did not attempt.
Yes.
Marwan.
9 by 10.
Very good.
1
Excellent.
false. The last one.
Engineer Ibrahim.
7.
7. Why your progress is down today? You are tired or you forget everything?
Wallahi, I don't. I have 3 questions, 5 and 6 and 8. I make it fall.
Maafi mushkil. Yes, Dr. Maad.
It was 8, brother.
Okay, good, good. Mudassir.
7, sir.
Abdul Jabbar. Abdul Jabbar.
5.
5. Not good, not good. You need to improve. Even yesterday your marks was less. So you have to improve. Atif.
9.
Very good, excellent. Afaq.
9 marks.
9 marks, very good. Khwaja.
6.
6. You need to work hard, Khwaja.
Sure.
Musa. Sorry?
6.
6. Okay.
Yes.
You need to do hard work. Yesterday we appreciate you, so today you are going down. You should not appreciate those people who are having good marks. Yes, Mr. Hussain.
9.
9.
Out of 10.
Excellent. Good. Out of 10 or out of 20?
10. 10.
Okay, good, good. So, guys, you know what I need to say again. Those participants having less than 7 marks, they need to work hard. As I told you that some of the questions will also be coming from these revision questions. Not all, but some. Maybe like the same or maybe some a bit different. But if you are going to read the book, if you are making the notes with the training, then these things will be very easier for you. So let's start with our next module, which is hazard communication. What is HAZCOM? Anyone can give the idea about HAZCOM?
It's abbreviation about hazard communication. Com from communication.
Right.
And has from hazard.
Very good. Has
Sorry,
is about
what was the
hazard
question?
and com. Hazard, HAZCOM is about hazard and com is about communication. Right? In OSHA, we call it HAZCOM and the full abbreviation is hazard communication. When we are dealing with hazardous material, right, most of the time it could be a chemical, it could be any other form of material, it could be in the form of solid, liquid, gas, whatever it is. So whenever we are going to deal with the material which is hazardous to the human, we call it hazardous material and it comes under the category of HAZCOM. In OSHA, they have the standard 29 CFR 1910 and section is 1200, which is going to discuss about HAZCOM. In which they started this thing in 2012. This HAZCOM is going to give you the responsibilities of 3 parties. Okay, the responsibilities of 3 parties. The first party is those companies who are manufacturing the chemical or manufacturing the hazardous material. For example, in our case, we have SABIC, right? They are manufacturing the chemicals. We have many other companies available in Yambo, in Jubail. You will find a number of companies who are involved in the manufacturing of chemicals. There are some responsibilities for those manufacturers. Then there are some responsibilities of those companies who are basically dealers. They are taking the chemical from the manufacturer and they keep it in their facility and then they make it available to the others. So they are also responsible for few activities. And then what are our responsibilities? We need to see. Okay, so this HAZCOM
is going to define the requirement for all three parties. Because most of the time when you are going to purchase the chemical, when you contact the SABIC will say, please go to our dealer and they are the one who are going to deal with you and they will provide you the material, right? So there are certain responsibilities of manufacturer or the importer. The first responsibility is to develop the label and MSDS, right? First responsibility is to develop the label which you are going to paste on the chemical and the MSDS of this chemical or the hazardous material. What is the MSDS and what are the labels requirements we will discuss in later slides. Then there are responsibilities for the importers, those parties who are going to import, or as I told you, those who are importers or exporters. For example, if you are in a different country and you need the chemical from SABIC, so basically you are going to import, and there will be an authorized agent available in your country from the SABIC to whom you are going to make the request. So when he is going to have this hazardous material, then it is his responsibility that he should ask to share the MSDS and label with the manufacturer, because this is an interim location for him, and then he will be supplying this to the employer or to your company where you want to use the chemical. The third party who is responsible for the material, those who are importing or those who are purchasing from manufacturer or from the dealer, it is their responsibility to ask them that we need to have the label available, we need to have the MSDS available, and there is one more responsibility for them is to make your workers train on these things, right? So the responsibility of manufacturer is to develop the label and MSDS. It will be developed by the manufacturer, not the employer. It is the responsibility of that exporter or the importer, whoever he is, or the authorized agent, to make sure that these two things are available with hazardous material. And then it is the responsibility of employer when it comes to their site. Now it's their responsibility. So what are they going to do? They will take the material label, they will take the material MSDS, and they will train their employees on how to use this material in a safe manner. For example, safe material handling techniques, same chemical handling techniques, how to discard this chemical, how to clean this chemical, what to do in case of if it goes to your eyes or if it is going to touch your body or skin. So these are all information. It is the responsibilities of employer to provide the training on these things. Clear? Apart from these things, it is also the responsibility of employer to develop a hazard communication program. What is a hazard communication program? Hazard communication program is the program which is going to give us all the information which are available at our site. What are their properties, where we are going to use these chemicals, and what are the requirements for these chemicals. And this also makes sure that you have the up-to-date MSDS available for each chemical which you are going to use. Right? Any question? Now, forms of hazardous substance. When we are dealing with hazardous substance, we need to know that what are the forms of these hazardous substances. For example, it could be in the form of liquid, it could be in the form of solid, it could be in the form of gas, it could be in the form of dust, if it could be in the form of powder, it could be in the form of vapor, it could be in the form of mist, it could be in the form of, there is one more form of these chemicals, which we call it asbestos, right? Asbestos is carcinogenic material, which is being used in the cement factory, which is being used in the construction activities. Have you seen asbestos sheets, asbestos is being used in the bricks. Asbestos is being used in the, not in the bricks, in the cement as well. There are asbestos pipes. So those villages still they are having asbestos sheets, because this asbestos sheet is a very powerful sheet, and it has very less effect with the weather change. For example, if there is a raining, if there is a high sunlight, this asbestos sheet is going to keep you safe and long life. I mean, 20 years, 25 years, no problem if you are going to use. But asbestos is now banned. Especially in UK, asbestos is 100% banned. But in America, it's still not banned because they are manufacturing the asbestos. So they say that the kind of asbestos which is harmful for the health, this is being banned, but the other type of asbestos which is not harmful for the health, it is being used. But as far as my studies are concerned, because I used to go in cement companies and those companies who are preparing the asbestos pipes, uh, cemented pipes which contains the asbestos. So there are two kind of asbestos. They are correct that one of them is the blue, which is the dangerous. White is no problem, is less hazardous. But it doesn't mean that the blue is safe. Even the blue one, all the types of asbestos are hazardous. But sometimes the effect is more and sometimes the effect is less. That's the only thing which is different. But otherwise, all of them are, hazardous to the health. So sometimes your material could be in the form of this asbestos, right? Asbestos, the problem with asbestos, see, our nasal system, our nose, it has the filter available, right? Here, there is a filter in our nose. Whenever you go in the dust, you feel ubar, right? What happened? You will get this, and then corona spread everywhere, right? So it's not the case. When you get a sneeze, then your filter is going to be clean, whatever is stuck here. This is the natural filter, built-in filter from our creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the problem with asbestos, that this filter can stop up to 5 micron, but less than 5 micron, it will go into the inside to our body. So this asbestos particles are less than 5 micron, so they can go easily in our nasal system, and then they are going to destroy the body. Asbestos is the cancer causing, right? Asbestos is the cancer causing, but it is not going to give you the effect ala tool, not very quickly. It's a long time, right? It is a, what we call it, acute, and the other is chronic. So this is a chronic material which is going to impact you after a long time, not very early. And if the asbestos is in the solid form, for example, if it is in the form of roof sheets, in the form of pipe, in the form of drain caps, covers, no problem. But the time when the asbestos sheets are going to be cracked or damaged, then they are going to affect, right? Then they are going to, then the asbestos will start coming into the atmosphere, into the ambient where these sheets are being installed. So in case if you are in contact with, if it is, for example, your home or your office, so with the passage of time, you are going to inhale this asbestos in your body. So this is about asbestos. I thought that it is, an important thing that we should understand, because those people who are dealing with construction all the time, they should make special care for those people who are involved in the demolishing of buildings. They are the one who are in more contact with asbestos as compared to those who are involved in the construction only. So there are routes of entry from where this material will go in our body. We are saying that this is hazardous material. So if it is hazardous to human, then definitely it will go in our body from some passage, from some path. So from where it is going to enter in our body, it's ingestion. Maybe you will eat, you will drink something, and it will go in your body. Then we have inhalation. If you are going to breathe something, right, it will go in from your breathing system from your nose. Then absorption. Absorption is what? Does it pass through the skin or membranes, for example, through your eyes and your skin membranes? Similarly, injection, right? Injection is what? If physically it will going in your body, for example, we are going to have the injections, we are going to have some needle is going inside your body. So this is all puncture or injection. These are all possible routes from where a material can enter in our body. Why we need to know these areas of entry in our body? So we can apply controls on it, right? So we can apply control on it. Whatever the PPEs are needed, we can apply this. Clear? Any question?
No, it's clear.
Okay, good. Safety data sheet. What is safety data sheet? Remember we discussed that it is required by the employer to have the safety data sheet and label available. It is the responsibilities of manufacturer to develop the safety data sheet for their chemicals or the material. So what is safety data sheet? Safety data sheet is a very good way of communication, which is going to communicate and identify all the possible hazards which are associated with this chemical or this material. When I say chemical, I mean, this is my normal terminology. Otherwise, this is the correct terminology is the material. So hazardous chemical or hazardous material, it is required to have the MSDS available. If this chemical or if this material comes under the categorization of chemical, for example, lubricant oil, you need to have the even the MSDS of lubricant oil you need to have available. Those chemicals, if are in a small quantity you are going to use or you are going to use on large quantity, it is the requirement of employer to keep the MSDS available for each chemical. And these MSDS shall be updated, right? Shall be updated. In some companies, we have seen that they have the system for every year they are going to have the MSDS audit, which makes sure that each area where the chemicals are being used, they have the MSDS available and they have the update MSDS available. Nowadays, information is very easy. You can find the chemicals on your you can find the MSDS on Google. You can find the MSDS by just sending the mail to the that company manufacturer who is going to develop this or manufacture this chemical. So they will give you the updated version, whatever it is. So MSDS, it contains around 16 sections, and these 16 sections, some of them are very important and some of them are less important. But again, those who are less important, it depends on your usage of the chemical. MSDS, always remember, should be available at point of use. The main thing with the MSDS, in UK, they call it MSDS. In USA, they call it SDS. So MSDS and SDS are same. Don't confuse with it. MSDS shall be available at point of use. When we say point of use, which means that where the chemical or this material is being used. We have seen that sometimes the MSDS is available with store manager or the warehouse manager or the quality manager or the purchase manager, because they are the one who are having all the documents available. But the chemical in actual is being used on the operations area. The chemical is being used on site. The chemical is being used on the laboratory. So wherever you are going to use the chemical, it is the responsibility of employer to provide the MSDS at point of use. Yes, you can say that we have the MSDS available in the folder, but it is in the premises of laboratory where we are going to use this chemical. You can say that MSDS is available to my manager's table or shelf where, and we are using the chemical the same location. So it's okay, no problem. Or ideally, you should make the important, take out the important points from, if you are using more than one chemicals at one side, then take out only important points and post on the wall on the notice board where they are going to use the MSDN, and those people who are involved in the chemical handling, they must be aware of the MSDS before they are going to start the work. And with the passage of time, it is the responsibility of employer to train and to refresh them again and again with this knowledge and information which is needed for the chemical handling. Similarly, there is also a requirement, for example, they should know what to do in case of spills. They should have been trained on spill management. They should be trained on chemical handling. So there are multiple requirements which are needed in terms of training. Because remember, we discussed that it is the employer has three responsibility: MSDS, label, and training of staff. So MSDS is a very good handy document, must be available at point of view. Ideally, it should be available in the local language. Local language, why we are saying local language? Because if the people, they understand the Arabic language in the area and you are going to paste the MSDS, which is in English, so it might be possible they will find difficulty in getting understand unless you are not going to make the awareness session for them. So it should be in the local language. If you are using more than one chemical, sometimes some companies, they are using many chemicals at one area. So no problem, you can make the printout and put there, or just take the important information, because almost all the chemicals, they have the same properties. All the bases, they have same properties. All the acids, they are having same property. Those which are oxidizers, they are also having almost the same properties. So you can take out the important points for each category and just paste by means of picture. Ideally, if it's those who are working, the workers, instead of giving them training, it's better if you are going to make some visualization so they can read and they can understand every day when they are working at the same location. You can see this example of MSDS format. This is one of the most simplest format, but you will find like 4 pages, 3 pages, 5 pages formats for MSDS which are available with different chemicals. And then you will find there is another thing which is the diamond, right? We call it NFPA diamond. This NFPA diamond, if you are if you are working near Yambo industrial area, in Yambo industrial area, or in the Yambu or Jubail or the Mam Khubar, you will find many Bowsers which are having this diamond on their tanks. So what is the meaning of this diamond? We need to understand. As a safety professional, we should understand this thing. This yellow is about the instability. Instability means that most of the chemicals are stable at normal condition or at room temperature, but some of the chemicals are unstable at room temperature. For example, iodine, for example, concentrated acid. So we are going to have 1, which means that lesser head. So if 0, which means stable, if 1 unstable, if heated, 2 violent chemical, 3 shock and heat may detonate, 4 may detonate, which means that very unstable. Similarly, these are the rating. Again, 4 ratings are everywhere. For example, if there is a rating of 2 with the red color is for the fire. Like we have the red color on fire extinguishers, on fire hydrants. So similarly, we have red color with fire. So which is going to give that if it is a rating is 0, which means that there is no burning hazard. If 1, then which means that it is above 200 Fahrenheit, it is going to have the flash point. If below 200 Fahrenheit, which means that more dangerous, below 100 more dangerous, and below 73 is very dangerous flash point. Then we have 3 is the health hazard, that 0 is the normal material, 1 is the slightly hazardous, 2 is the hazardous, number 3 is the extreme danger, and 4 is the deadly. And then we have a blank or white box, which is for any chemical, for any hazard which you want to put, right? Which is a special hazard, we can say, or any of the hazard which you would like to add here. For example, if it is an oxidizer, you will put OX. If it is acid, you can write it acid. If it is an alkali, you can write ALK. If corrosive, if no water, or if radiation hazard. So whatever the special hazard is available, you can put in the white box. So this is one of the example of our MSDS, and similarly there is another thing we call it label. Label I will show you in the video. What is the label requirements? Label requirement is that the name should be available prominently. The hazard, one word hazard, should be available on prominently on the bottle of the chemical or the can of the chemical, and the how to use this chemical safely. This is one of the element which can be added, and the manufacturer information. So in case if it is needed to get more information, they can contact the manufacturer, right? Yes. Yes, any question?
I would like to just add that I have seen this one on liquid oxygen tanks and this label on cylinders. Even they're putting it to classify how much hazardous it is. Usually I saw the OX written on the white diamond. Oxidizer, full oxygen.
Right, yeah. Yes, guys, I will show you some videos. There are two videos which I think that important to see to get the better idea about the chemical hazards. One is first video is about the MSDS and label. So this video is going to discuss everything about MSDS and label, so we can have the idea about what is the requirement for. Can you see the screen?
Yes, we can see the player.
Can you hear now?
Yes, we can hear.
Good.
Many of the chemicals we use in the lab are potentially dangerous, especially under high heat, pressure, or when they're mixed with other chemicals. There are two main tools that we use to identify chemical hazards: safety data sheets and chemical labels. Every chemical in the lab is required to have a technical document called a safety data sheet, or SDS, usually provided by the manufacturer. These were formerly known as material safety data sheets, or MSDS. The safety data sheet is a one-stop shop to find out about a chemical's properties, hazards, and safety precautions. Know the location of the safety data sheets in your lab and review them before working with a chemical for the first time. GHS is an acronym for the Globally Harmonized System of Classification and Labeling of Chemicals. This new system provides an international standard format for safety data sheets. All SDS must now be organized into 16 sections. Section 1, Identification. Here you'll find the chemical's name, description, and the manufacturer's contact information. 2, Hazard Identification. This section lists signal words, warnings, and safety symbols. 3, Composition, a list of ingredients. 4, First aid measures. What's the required treatment for a person who's been exposed? 5, Firefighting measures. 6, Accidental release measures. These are instructions for containment and cleanup of spills or leaks. 7, Handling and storage requirements. 8, Exposure controls and personal protection. This describes OSHA's exposure limits and recommendations for PPE. 9, Physical and chemical properties, such as appearance, odor, pH, flash point, solubility, and evaporation rate. 10, Stability and reactivity, how to avoid hazardous reactions. 11, Toxicological information, find out about the likely routes of exposure symptoms as well as short and long-term effects. Sections 12 through 16 aren't mandatory, but you should at least be familiar with them. Ecological, disposal, transport, and regulatory considerations. Section 16 is for any other pertinent information. This is where you'll find the date that the SDS was prepared along with the last known revision. Safety data sheets provide a lot of information about how to use chemicals safely in the lab. But there's also another way to learn about a chemical, and that's by reading its label. The new GHS format requires each chemical in the lab to be labeled with the product name, a signal word such as danger or caution, physical, health and environmental hazard statements, precautionary statements, pictograms, first aid instructions, and the supplier's contact information. Pictograms consist of a symbol on a white background, framed in a red border. Each pictogram represents a specific hazard: health, flammability, toxicity, compressed gases, skin and eye protection, unstable explosives, oxidizers. An oxidizer is a chemical that initiates combustion through the release of oxygen, environmental hazards, and acute toxicity. Now you know how to identify potential chemical hazards by looking at both safety data sheets and chemical labels.
Okay, guys, clear about MSDS? That's why I did not discuss all the topics, all the sections which are needed for MSDS.
Yes.
So there is another video which I would like to share with you, which is regarding to the different classification of chemicals. We are, we should know these classification of chemicals so we can apply the control, because with each classification of chemical there is a hazard associated which we need to control. So this is also a NAPO video, very interesting video, and you are going to learn it, very fast. And we will be using this information in our next modules. Can you see the screen?
No.
We can only see.
No. No?
Yes.
على مقطع تعليم.
Thank you.
Yes, guys, clear? Any question?
Clear.
Okay, let's have a 10-minute break for Salah and then we will continue further.
Just a quick question, Mr. Anas.
Yes.
Regarding the MSDS and GSC, what's the difference between them?
Sorry, again?
MSDS, GS Global System Classification.
No, GHS Global Harmonized System is the standard, which defines that how your MSDS should be. Because what happened that before this standard, many companies, many countries, they have their own system for this preparation of MSDS. Some countries they are using 11 sections, some countries they are using 10 sections, some countries they are using 15 sections. So they all sit together and then they develop it GHS, Global Harmonized System. You can see with the name that Global Harmonized System, which means that now whoever the company is going to manufacture the chemical MSDS, it will be the same 16 sections, right?
I got it. No, thanks.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Let's have a break and then we'll continue after 10 minutes.
Mr. Anas?
Yes.
In UK standard, we said MSDS, in the American SDS.
MSDS and SDS, same.
Same.
Even in America, some people, they call it MSDS, so no problem. Most common is MSDS.
MSDS.
Yes, guys, available?
Available, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now our next
Sir,
topic is about
सर मदीना में अभी अजान हुई है.
Azan.
अभी अभी हुई है. यस सर.
अरे ठीक है, तो आप पढ़ के आ जाए, कोई मसला नहीं है, हम स्टार्ट कर लेते
5 मिनट देने सर मुझे बस.
हैं। आप 6 मिनट ले लीजिए, आराम से पढ़ दे.
थैंक यू. ओके.
Okay, so our next module is about material storage and power trucks, which is our module number 8. Before doing the activities of storage material, one activity which is very common in the companies is about the manual handling. Right? What is manual handling? Manual handling, that it includes the lifting, pushing, pulling, anything which require the force. It comes under the category of manual handling if it is in case of it is heavy. OSHA requires you to, for the men it gives the limit of 50 pounds, and for the women it gives the limit of 25 pounds. So if we are carrying or lifting more than this amount of weight, then it will become under the category of manual handling. We have seen in companies sometimes they are using the hand trolleys, and with the hand trolleys they have the too much load. So depending on the requirement, we are going to use the mechanical means of the handling. But if it is less than, like it's 10 kilo or 12 kilo, 13 kilo, no problem. We have seen the manual handling most of the time, especially in the fertilizer sectors, in the cement companies, where they are lifting the bags of 50 kg, sometimes it's 25 kg. So they are involved in manual handling. Now with the modern technology, everything is now automatic, and up to the point of loading into the trucks, it is totally conveyor based. But when it comes in the truck, definitely then you need to have the labor available who are going to setting according to the design of your truck, so they can have more and more. Those trucks where you are going to keep the pallets, it is easier, right? The forklift can put the full pallet. But these fertilizer trucks, these kind of cement trucks, if you will observe them, you will not find there is a pallet under them. So because they are on too much height, sometimes they are having 10 rows, 12 rows, depending on the size of truck or trailer. So that's why we need to have a very precautions when we are going to deal with the manual handling. With the manual handling, there is not only the injuries, hazards which are associated with the manual handling, but if you see the picture, there are many hazards which are health related. For example, fracture, strains, sprains. These are all our manual handling hazards. Backbone, if your handling is incorrect, you can have the issues with your backbone, back ache. These are all causing the due to the manual handling, right? Precautions for manual handling. What do we need to do when we are dealing with the manual handling? The first thing is to make the plan. When you are required to perform the manual handling, the first thing what you need to do is to plan your activity. When we say plan, it doesn't mean that it should be a written plan available, even if you are going to carry one bag or one cement bag. So, but this plan will be in your mind, right? So what you are going to do with the manual handling, the first thing is to plan, and then you should know where is your destiny, where you have to take this load. It may be possible that you are going to take this load to the area which requires the stairs. You are carrying the load and you are required to travel with this load where the floor is slippery, the floor is uneven, there is no proper lighting, there is no proper signage is available, so there is a chance that you will fall. And if you are going to fall, definitely then material is also going to fall and you both get damaged with these things. So the first thing is to have a clear idea about where I have to go with this manual handling. Then when you are going to take out this load with the manual handling, the main thing is that first you are going to sit easily, right? What we do most of the time, we make like we are in the ruku, right? Which is very, very hazardous. This position, when you are going to make like round your back, when you are doing like ruku or sajda, this position is very dangerous for your back, right? You will get the back pain, back ache. And so first thing what you are going to do when you are dealing with the manual handling, to sit easily, keep your back straight and sit on your feet, right? Full feet, don't on the fingers. You are going to sit on the feet and then make a strong grip on the load, right? Make a strong grip on the load and then stand up with the load. Once you are going to stand up with the load, then your whole body will be involved in carrying the load. When you are going to start walking, don't put the load away from you. Why? Because if the load is away from your body, only the force of your hand is involved to carry the load. But if the load is close to your body, which means that the whole body is going to involve in the carrying of this load. And especially if you have a tummy like me, so you can put the load on your tummy and you can walk easily. No problem. When you are going to reach to your destiny, then on this destination, if possible, then put the load into two steps. For example, one step to keep half and then take and keep it on the ground. Because again, it might be possible when you are keeping the load, you are going to tilt your back in again D shape, which is going to cause you the problem. So that's why keep it on the lower or here and then on the ground. Clear? Any question?
Clear.
Okay. When we are using the, when we have the load which is above than our limit, for example, the for the manual handling, for example, we have the limit as required by OSHA, 50 pounds. Then what we are going to do, we are going to use the mechanical means. What could be the mechanical means for carrying the load, for example? Yes, guys.
Any what you can say, any for example, gas cylinder.
No, what are the mechanical means to carry the load?
The mechanical means this
Trolley.
jack,
Very good.
trolley,
Hand jack trolley and
forklift.
forklift, very good example. And
yeah,
cranes, right? These are all our mechanical means of carrying the load. Okay. So what are the precautions for carrying the load when we are dealing with the mechanical means? We need to be very careful while we are using the forklifts, especially in our companies. We have seen that most of the time the pallets or the heavy load is being carried by the forklift. So when we are dealing with the forklift, what we need to take care is the first thing that the load should be at the center, right? At the center of the fork. So the it is not going to have tilt, not going to have tilt. If this is the your load, then this is the fork of your forklift, then the weight must be on the mid, right? Not on the corner or not on the away, because in case if the brake is going to be applied and if he's going a bit faster, or if there is any speed breaker within the company, or if there is uneven float, then in this case it is going to be fall. Then do not allow over lifting. For example, if your forklift is designed for 5 tons, 3 tons, 6 tons, 10 tons, then do not exceed the weight. Sometimes what happens that the companies, they carry the dead load, right? Dead weight on the back side of the forklift, and then they use the forklift, which is very, again, dangerous because forklift has limited capability. Its forks are designed in such a way that they can carry the material which is recommended for it. So do not carry the dead weight just to manage your weight. You have to lift the weight which is under your forklift limit. Then when you are going up or you are going down, then you have to make special care. Most of the time when you are coming down, it is recommended that you should come down with the reverse direction, because it might be possible when you have the weight available on the fork and you are coming down. So in this weight is going to be uh, fall from the forks. So there is also a requirement from industrial best practice, not necessarily by OSHA, that we need to have the startup checklist available for the forklift. What we need to have: startup forklift, pre-startup checklist. We call it pre-startup inspection checklist or pre-startup checklist available, where we are the forklift operator. It is the responsibility of forklift operator to fill this pre-startup checklist rather than safety department, because every shift it might be possible that the operators are going to be changed, or every day they are going to be changed. So it will be in their forklift, so they can take and they can fill it easily. It will be just tick and cross. So if there is any problem, because this checklist will contain inspection of the mirror, side mirrors, flashlight, right? Air pressure in the tires, about the seat belt, about the overall load, about the lubrication status, the oil status, uh, the preventive maintenance, the battery status. In industries, most of the time we have seen that there are three kinds of forklifts are available. The first kind is diesel based, the second kind is gas based, and the third kind is the battery operated, where you are going to use the forklift in outside area. For example, the company is big and they have the forklifts are required to move from this place to another place, and you are using these forklifts just to make the material, to put into the crawlers. So where the ambient is open, we can use the forklift which is having diesel, because they are a bit faster. They can make they can have more load because the engine is strong. So most of the time, but these are also producing the pollution, which is not good for food items, which is not good for pharmaceutical. So if we are dealing with those companies where we have the food or pharmaceutical, those activities which can affect with the pollution, or uh, this kind of forklift shall not be used inside the production area or operation area, because the smoke is going to stay in the ambient. Then we have gas type. Gas type has less smoke, and then we have the, but again the hazard with the gas is high, because you are keeping this cylinder with you all the time, and when the cylinder is going to finish, you are going to change the cylinder. Sometimes we have seen that the accidents are happened when the forklift got accident. The cylinder is going to have sort of blast, or when if it is not fixed properly while you are going to change the cylinder, the kinds of accidents are possible. Similarly, then the third kind is the battery operated. Battery operated are very good. They have very less smoke, and inside the traveling within your companies, within department where you have the roof is not very much high, or it is not open, then you can use the battery operated forklift, which are good. And the thing, sometimes we have seen that there is a the battery operators are the forklift operators are taking out the batteries for the charging purpose. Otherwise, the forklift is going to be engaged. But nowadays we have seen that to carry the batteries, there are now trolleys very especially designed for these batteries are available with the forklift. So you can take, because this battery is very heavy, and you need to have a proper charging area available for this battery, because if it is a dry battery, if it is an acid based battery, uh, with the acid based battery there are vapors which are coming out, because when the battery is going to be charged, there are a lot of acid vapors are possible in the facility. And where you are going to put the charging of this battery, it has the terminals available which is high voltage, and also there is electrical hazards are there. So we need, and again, if the trolleys or any other support is not available, then if the operator, forklift operator or the forklift driver is going to take out and keep this battery again. So this is again manual handling hazard is there. So we need to be very careful while we are using any kind of forklift, and that's why the industrial best practice is to have the pre-startup checklist available. And 3 kind of medical tests are recommended for the forklift driver. It is not a necessary requirement, but it is recommended. Like the first test is to have the eyesight, because your forklift driver should see clearly with glasses or without glasses, whatever it is. And then this audiometry test for the hearing power. If his hearing power is okay, because in case if he's driving the forklift, there is an emergency or behind there are another vehicle is coming and he is not be able to listen, then it could be a problem. And there is another test which is needed for the forklift or the crane operator is called epilepsy test. This epilepsy is you can say that it's a sort of a situation comes where you are not in your senses. When you are under stress, when you are having some tension, then this epilepsy condition is possible. And now just imagine that if the forklift driver has this problem, and this comes when he is traveling with the weight or with the load, so what will happen? There will be too much destruction, right? So when we are dealing with the forklift, we need to make special care, because in our warehouses there are all shelves are available where you are going to put the load, and in these shelves there is a point called center of gravity. The center of gravity lies in one of the point. If you are going to touch this point, the whole shelves or the whole pallets are going to be destroyed. And we will also see the video to get the understanding about these things. Yes, guys, any question? You can see different type of forklifts. Sometimes these forklifts are also called industrial trucks, right? So these are also like hand trolleys, but these are battery operated. Okay, now you will be doing the exercise. Take out your book. And I will be dividing you into 2 groups, so you can do this exercise easily. Okay, so the first group, there will be 3 groups. Okay, the first group, if you can take out page number 50. The first group is going to take out the important points from what safeguards must worker follow when stacking the materials. Okay, always remember, when I'm going to give you some exercises, it doesn't mean that you are going to read from the book. It means that you need to carry out important points, write in your own language, in your own words, and then describe us. Otherwise, I can also read from the book. Anyone can also read the book. The concept for the group activity is that you should discuss and you should write the output in your own words rather than to read the books. Okay. So the first group is going to discuss the important points. For example, you can see there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 20 points, let's say. Okay, so just take out important points. For example, 5 points, which you think as a group are important. And then write them, or from here, copy paste them on your screen. on your Word file or PowerPoint, and then we will be discussing. Those who have given the presentation yesterday or day before, they are not going to give this time. The other members will be doing. They can write, they can share the screen, but the presentation will be given by the other members. I will announce who will be the group leader. Then group number 2 will be what safety measures should employers take regarding to crane. We have discussed already about the forklift. So you are going to discuss the precautions while you are using the crane in the companies. So again, 5 important points. Just take out 5 important points and write in your words, and then we will be discussing. Then we will have what are the traveling precautions which are needed for the forklift. If you can see page number, this will be on page number 55. Okay, traveling precautions for the forklift. You will find around 10 or 12 traveling precautions for the forklift. Okay, so you are going to discuss important point from these traveling precautions from the forklift. Clear?
Clear.
Okay, so in group number 1, we will have Marwan, Engineer Ibrahim, Afaq, and Mr. Musa. So Mr. Marwan is going to give the presentation. Okay, and anyone can write, no problem. So your assignment is to find out the what is your assignment?
Page number 15.
Yeah.
Number 5 important point.
Yes. While stacking the material, right? Important points while stacking the material. Then we have group number 2 where we have Abdul Jabbar, Atif, Khwaja Anwaruddin, and I will put Mudassir. Okay. Abdul Jabbar, Atif, Khwaja Anwaruddin, and Mudassir. So you are in the group number 2, and your task is to, you know your exercise. What are the precautions regarding to crane, right? Yes, group number 2, awake or sleep? Abdul Jabbar, Atif, Khwaja, Mudassir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Mr. Abdul Jabbar will be giving the presentation for this. Okay. And then we have group number 3.
Sir, I'm not using laptop, sir.
No problem. The other person can write. Atif has the laptop available, so he can write. No problem. I think Mudassir also has the laptop. So
Mr. Anas?
Yes.
For our group, page number 15, it's about the ladders.
No, not 15, 50, Khamstash. 50.
Yes.
Khamseen, not Khamstash.
Ah, Khamseen, okay.
Khamseen, yeah.
For us, sir, what page?
Okay. So Marwan.
Group number 251.
Can you see the screen?
Group number 251.
Yes. What precautions? Storage hazards, okay, to avoid storage. This is group number 1. Group number 2 is about crane, okay. Group number 2, Abdul Jabbar, Atif, are you available?
Group number 251, page number 51.
Atif available, Khwaja Anwaruddin available?
Yes, sir, available.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Mudassir available? So your topic is crane, okay. And third group, Dr. Muad, Hussain, Rushdi, and Nizam. Your topic is the traveling precautions with the forklift. Okay, you will find it on page number 54. Yalla, 10 minutes, then we will discuss quickly. Yes, guys.
Yes, sir.
Who is going to start?
What's happened? Okay.
Group
Group
number
number
one.
one, I guess.
We can start with group number 3, no problem. Group number 3.
Okay, let me share the screen. It says host disable attendee screen sharing.
Okay. Just a minute. Done.
Okay, it's clear.
Yes.
So this is the 5 point we selected to discuss about. So the basic one rule is to maintain control of the forklift.
What was the topic?
Throttling precautions.
Okay, good.
To maintain control of your forklift at all times is the must and foremost basic rule. Always to keep look at the direction of the throttle, to keep clear view of the throttle path while you're going, and always keep the speed limit. Don't be in a rush to finish the task. Never engage in.
How much is the speed limit need to maintain? Any idea?
Usually 5.
What 5 what?
5 meter per hour.
5 miles per hour.
5 miles per hour.
Okay, yes, mile. So this will be 20 kilo, right? 20
Exactly.
kilo.
Almost.
Okay, almost. Okay, because actually 2 weeks ago, Mr. Anas, I was in a warehouse. It's a water company warehouse. You can't believe it's a distraction. Maybe it's forklift, no bath, no labor, nothing. Yani. Just yalla, put the load, yalla, finish. Yani it was.
They are driving the forklift like a car, very high speed.
And
the material.
Stand in front of the forklift driver while load. لا, but here, yes, يعني anything can happen. يعني. Okay, I never drive. This is the point I was told. Never drive forklift up to anyone in front of a bench or other fixed object, because driving the forklift and the driver is standing in front, literally in front of the forklift.
I have a scene accident of forklift. As I'm working in a warehouse, a guy was just by speeding, he entered in the warehouse and smashed on the wall, and he broke all the wall.
Ooh.
It's very dangerous. Very dangerous.
Yes. Sometimes the people, they use the forklift as a traveling car. They are going to canteen, washroom with the forklift, which is. Yes, continue, please.
Yes, that's the 4, the 5 important point that we selected. Maintain control, look at the direction all the time, keep a clear view, maintain or keep the posted speed limit, never engage in stunt driving or horseplay, and never drive forklift up to anyone near or in front of the fixed object.
Yeah.
Very good.
Another one point I would like to add, if possible, is that whenever you're driving a forklift, make sure the forks are lowered. Mr. Muhammad Rushdie pointed this out, that to lower the center of gravity, you need to reduce the possibility of overturning, you should have your forks lowered. Otherwise, there's a high chance you brake suddenly, and there's a chance of overturning.
Exactly, very good point. It is also helpful when you are carrying something and you are applying certain brake. So if it is going to fall from a bit height, your forks are a bit height, then will be more damage as compared to if your forks are down. Another think I will share that last year I was in one of the competition where we had an international body from Germany. They conducted this competition in Jeddah about the forklift driving, right? So they have invited from the forklift operator from many companies, and I was one of the three judges in that activity of competition, and we have seen that there were many forklift drivers, and we have given them two rounds, basically initial round, and then if they qualify for the initial round, then they can go for the second round, and those who will be qualifying second round, and finally we had three people or five people, I think, which were qualifying for the third round, which is the most dangerous. So what I have observed, and we discussed this also, that those people who are driving the forklift since long time, they are very fast because they are overconfident. Sometimes they think that if I will keep, because we give them for example one of the pallet which consists of two heavy drums, and they have to take this drums from one place to another, and they have to pass from different barriers. So they were thinking that if they will be taking these drums very speedy, and although the driving was okay, but the speed limit was high, so which shows that they are overconfident. Maybe this kind of activity is good for their warehouse, their warehouse manager or the production manager. They like this speed, but but this is not a safe speed, right? So we have seen that the operators from many multinational companies, they have participated, and finally the participant or the forklift driver who won the first prize, you can't believe it, that he's a very young guy, like 23, 22 years. And we were shocked. But since we had the system of points for different, you know, different rounds, so he was the one who got them, and he was very confident, and he did all the tasks very comfortably, no hurry, follow all the safety rules, using while he's driving the forklift. You can see that he's very calm, no tension or no stress. So it doesn't mean that if you are a young or if you are a young experienced driver, it all depends here. What is your mentality, right? So if your mentality is to work safe, then you will be following the requirements. And if your mentality is to just do the work as soon as possible, so you can go for tea break, you can go for lunch break, or you can take rest, then definitely there are more chances of accidents out there. And I remember in that company, I told you that I went in Tetra Pak for the risk assessment activity. It took me around 2 or 2.5 days just to do the risk assessment for their yard. When we say yard, which means the loading bay, unloading bay, because there were too much trucks involved and too much forklifts are involved all the time for the loading and unloading activities. So there are many hazards, and we have considered all possible hazards to which there is a possibility for accident. So alhamdulillah, it was good activity. Yes, guys, very good. Second group number 2.
Let's start. Please share your screen. Yeah, our topic was
forget.
Yeah. Hello.
Yes, we are listening. Please continue.
Yeah. First of all, the first point should we wrote is require workers to always check
your
the
topic?
Sir.
Sir.
What safety measures should employers take regarding cranes?
Okay, very good, very good.
Yeah. First of all, workers should require to always check the crane's load chart to ensure that the crane will not be overloaded by operating conditions. Like if the crane has a capacity of 45,000, lifting of 45,000 of load, we should not overload it by 50,000. We should limit it by 45,000 or less, 44,000, so that the crane should not fall down, or the rope or the chain should not break down. First of all, the second, direct workers to always keep hosting chains and ropes free of clinks or twists and never wrapped around the load, because it can result in many serious injuries, like if the load is collapsed or it's fall down on a worker. So we should be keep this in mind, that the chain or rope is not twisted or kinked, or not wrapped around the load. The third one, tell workers to take additional precautions and exercise extra care when operating around the power lines. The fourth one, ensure that all cranes are inspected frequently by person thoroughly.
Why we need to take care when we are dealing with, when we are running the crane near the power lines? What are the hazards associated with the power lines? Remember,
power lines, so that we can not damage the power lines of because it's high risk of electric shocks or like things like these. So we should be over precautious. The fourth one, ensure that all cranes are inspected frequently by person thoroughly. We should inspect by its brakes, its mechanics, its engine, its parts. So the one who knows about the crane very well should inspect it frequently. Last one, ensure that the critical parts of a crane, such as crane operating mechanisms, hooks, air or hydraulic system components and other load carrying components are inspected daily, as there should not be damaged rope or chain, or we should see about the hydraulics which are lifting the load, or basically these things, like as I said, we should inspect it thoroughly.
Very good, very good. So these are some of the precautions with the crane. See, crane handling is another, like a scaffolding. It's a full technical field. There are qualifications like rigger level 1, rigger level 2, rigger level 3. Specialized job. It's not the normal crane. We are talking about mobile crane. So sometime you will find the in-house cranes which are used for moving the material. But I'm talking about the mobile cranes which are needing the rigger to operate. The rigger is the person who is going to give the all signals, right? The crane driver is only the following his signals, because he cannot see the by his own eyes everywhere where is a load, where it has to go. So he is just following the signals of this rigger, and these riggers are those who are having rigger level 1. I think they have the authority for loading of up to the maximum capacity. And these riggers are they are most of the time they are like freelance, and they charge too much amount because they have very responsibility. They have very big responsibility, and in case if any load is going to be fall, so it is their responsibility. So we have seen that most of the time the project manager, he is coming in Corolla, and the rigger who is operator level, he is coming in in Land Cruiser
buses.
So no, he's coming in, as I told you, they are charging because it's a very big responsibility.
Yeah, I have to add something. As my brother is working in Riyadh, they have fitted a crane. I guess it's fitted on the building itself, right? So at the time of fitting, they did not make sure to be perfect. So at the time of dismantle, there was a high risk of building to fall down. So they bring engineers from Korea to only just dismantle this crane.
Exactly. Yes, very good, very good. Next point. First group.
Sir, what meaning?
Group number 1. Marwan.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes. Very good. Excellent.
Yes. Okay. Wait, please. Okay. This topic speak about how the worker can stack the material according to OSHA standard and how to make this worker work in comfortable area, for example. Okay. And now the stock of any material, we have two categories. First category, manual handling, and second category, mechanical handling, like forklift, using your forklift. For manual handling, the worker should be put only materials maximum 16 feet high. And with, for example, using forklift, the worker must be make this material maximum 20 feet high. Okay, and the important point in this topic, the area should be clean. So cleaning any waste from the store and keep the storage area free from anything can cause injury to the worker. Okay.
What are the possible accidents with if there is no proper cleaning is done in the area? What will happen? The forklift will pass through this waste. No problem.
Okay. For example, when the driver work with this forklift, for example, you can have an accident when you have many waste. For example, many bags they are not in the best what we can see in English. I forget this number. But
in the best direction or best location?
You can say
best location.
Okay.
Not organized in a well manners.
Right. Okay, next point.
And the fourth point is store the paper or any materials between the wall minimum 20 inch. Okay. For example, in this picture, this bags should be between these bags and the wall minimum 20 inch, like this, Mr. Anas?
18 inch.
18 inch, yes. 18.
Okay.
And if it is outside
18.
walls, then there is another requirement. This is interior wall, right? For exterior wall, there is some other requirement is there. Okay.
And the last point, for example, make any container or bags above this pallet. For this is during material stacking activity, you know. The worker should be make this any container or any bags above this pallet for to be stronger storage.
Very good. Whenever we need to make any storage, ideally it should be done on the pallets, but depending on also on the property of chemical or property of material, sometimes you don't need to have this on wooden pallet. For example, food products you cannot keep on the wooden pallet because there is a chance of contamination. So you need to use the fiber-based pellets, right, or the metallic pellets, which are corrosion-proof kind of pellets. So very good. Now we will see. Thank you so much. And now we will see some requirements, and then we will finish this module. Can you please unshare your screen? Thank you. Okay, good. So when we need to place the material on with exterior walls, what you have mentioned, Marwan, this group has mentioned, it was with the interior wall, right? 18 inch. But when you are dealing the material, when you need to keep the material from exterior wall, then it will be minimum 10 feet away from the exterior wall, because to avoid any kind of problems, we need to keep the material at least 10 feet from the exterior wall. Yes, guys, any question?
Said that one TUB. What meaning of TUB? That one in the forklift.
UP?
TUB. TUV.
TUV. Yeah.
Yes.
TUV is the inspection body basically. TUV is a third party who is going to make the inspection for lifting material, right? Before there was only the TUV in very popular in the kingdom, but there are many other bodies, third parties, which are involved in the, because for the forklift, for the crane, you are required to have annually inspection by a third party. It is a legal requirement in the kingdom. So that's why they are making the inspection with TUV to meet their legal requirements. Right?
Thank you.
Right. Okay, let's have this video and then we will finish the module. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Some accidents of forklift.
The last one was.
Yes, guys, where is the forklift? Can you see the forklift?
Forklift is buried.
Yes, in the 11. So, guys, let's have 10 minutes break and then we will continue. Don't go anywhere. Just pray and then come back. Those who are facing internet problem, they are going and coming again and again. Please fix your problem to avoid any issues during the training.
I suggested 4G mobile data because I'm also connected to 4G mobile data through hotspot. It's much better than connecting to Wi-Fi.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Yes, guys, available?
Alhamdulillah.
Okay. Done with Salah. Good, good, good. Yes, respect mankind. क्या हुआ? फरमाइए.
अवेलेबल सर.
अच्छा अच्छा, हाजिरी लगा रहे हैं. हाजिर जनाब.
हाजिर हूँ. लब्बैक.
लब्बैक लब्बैक, सही. Okay, let's proceed to our next topic. If next topic is ergonomics, in fact. Okay, ergonomics. Can anyone tell me about ergonomics?
I think in my own idea, ergonomics, our daily work, our daily tasks.
Okay.
Like office work or the field work, in the construction, in the plantation, anywhere.
Right.
This one ergonomics. This one repeatable. I think you do
I
this one
guess
every time.
Yes,
Repeat
any
and
other
repeat.
guys?
I
Ergonomics.
guess it deals with the muscular pain or muscular damage. I guess.
No, no.
Okay.
The
Yes. Any other?
the correct definition for ergonomics would be, for example, in product design, we use ergonomics. How you can say in simple words, if you're designing a chair, you want to design it according to the physiology of the human body. So it is, uh, whenever you're sitting or anything, it's comfortable. It's
Right. Any other? Now we have seen that IKEA, they have ergonomic friendly furnitures.
yes.
Home center. Yes.
Yes.
Dr. Muad.
Yes, the design, يعني optimization of the design to the individual need.
Very good. The design for the individual need.
That's
Very good.
the accurate description and the definition.
Very good. So when we are dealing with ergonomics is the way of designing our workstation with work practices and workflow to accommodate the capabilities. Ergonomics consists of three factors: that what is the design of your workstation, what is your, as a worker, what is your individual capability, and what are you doing the activity. When these three factors are going to have impact on your health, right? They can cause you injury, they can cause you ill health problems. Most of the time, if the furniture is ergonomic friendly, or if your workstation, even if you are working on site, if you are working on a computer, you are working on assembly line, you are working on a conveyor belt, wherever you are working, if your work is designed in such a way that it is meeting the requirements of ergonomic, it is supporting the ergonomics, it is going to protect you from the ergonomics issues, we can say that this workplace or this workstation is properly designed. Ergonomic design reduces risk factor known to the contribute to occupational ergonomic injuries and illness such as sprains, strains, and cumulative trauma disorder or CTDs.
Right.
It is not only about the seating but also about the moving. For example, if you are pushing or pulling something, we can take the example of our hand trolleys, very common example, or when you are going to apply special force on something. For example, you are involved in the hammering activity or you are cutting the trees, so you are doing this activity manually. So ergonomics are going to have the problems of ergonomics, they are going to have too much problems for the human. The ergonomic is not an activity which is you can say that it is a chronic effect. It is not a very fast effect. You will get the problem with the passage of time, not with one time activity, right? For example, those drivers who are driving the trawler on a hilly area or on unsmooth for example mountains, where they have to take the material, some construction is going on, so they are under the vibration all the time. Or those workers who are making the drilling, for example with the hilti, they are under the all the time they are with the vibration. So these kind of things, these kind of activities are causing the, we can have problem in our muscles, tendons, ligament, nerves, and blood vessels can be damaged. And injuries of these kind are called MSDs, or musculoskeletal disorder. Musculoskeletal disorder means we will further discuss what are the problems in MSDs. So ergonomic again is depending on worker's capability, the work which he is going to perform, and the workstation where he is performing the task. So these all three contributors are the contributors towards the ergonomic problem. When we say MSDs, MSDs include a group of conditions that involve the nerves, tendon, muscles, and supporting structure, such as intervertebral discs. They represent a wide range of disorder which can differ in severity from mild periodic symptom to chronic and debilitating conditions. For example, if you see this picture of hand, this is carpal tunnel syndrome. I'll just highlight it. So this is our carpal tunnel syndrome. When you are using the keyboard or you are doing the repetitive activity for a long time, then this area, all the nerves are going to be gathered at this point and the blood is going to be blocked. So sometimes, have you seen these kind of problems? The persons who are having these kind of problems, they cannot carry anything, they cannot make the grip on anything. Even sometimes we have seen that the problem, if they have this kind of problem, then even they cannot take the spoon. So it's very difficult for them. So then we have the tension neck syndrome. You can see this picture, tension neck syndrome, right? That when you are working on a laptop, when you are working on a computer and your postures are incorrect or inappropriate, then in this case what you are going to have is the tension neck syndrome. And ideally your eyesight and your screen should be at the 180 degree centigrade, 180 degree, rather than if you are need to go up or you need to sit down. Most of the time, those people who are not using the proper tables or the workstation and they are working for laptop for a long time, they are having these kind of issues. I also having this issue earlier. Then I improve my workstation, and then I stop working for a long time with the laptop in one go. So we need to take breaks time to time, every hour minimum 5 minutes break, every 40 minutes, 35 minutes, 1 minute, 2 minutes break. So you can go and you can take the water, you can go to, you can have some activity, because this sitting for a long time is also a very much hazard. And it is causing you many ill health issues if you are sitting for a long time. All the problems which are related to stomach, these are only due to the sitting and eating. And those, for example, who are in the fields like me, as a consultant, as an auditor, you have to sit for a long time. So definitely if they are not taking care of their health, if they are not being involved in exercises, they will get the tummy like me. So then the third hazard with MSDs, the problem is the back pain. So we know that back pain, if we are involved in the manual handling, if we are pushing or pulling something, we can have if our postures are incorrect. For example, in our homes, we used to have the mineral water cans, we used to have the gas cylinders. For somehow we are lifting them. So these problems are always possible, not only in your companies, but even if you are dealing with manual handling at your home, you can also face the MSDs. So MSDs are often confused with ergonomic. Ergonomic is the science of fitting workplace condition and the job demands to the capabilities of worker. And in other words, MSDs are the problem and ergonomic is the solution. So if we want to eliminate the MSDs issues, we need to have the ergonomic, right? Ergonomic design available for our workplace. And that's why the furniture companies, they are claiming that our furniture is ergonomic friendly. It will, protect your health. It is not, you can adjust them. For example, office chairs, for example, tables. You will find many kind of furnitures which are now you can adjust according to your need rather than to make a special furniture according to your need. So now these are all flexible things. Most of the time in offices, they are focusing on these things, right? What are the reasons for MSDs, or what are the contributor factors for the MSDs? For example, awkward posture, repetitive motions, forceful exertions, and pressure points, and definitely the vibration. There are also environmental factors associated with the workplace that can cause problem. For example, extreme high temperature or low temperature can increase the rate at which the body will fatigue. Exposure of the hands and feet to cold temperature can decrease the blood flow, muscle strength, and manual dexterity. Manual dexterity is the same thing, like you will not be able to do something manually. Your grip is going to be very much reduced. So these are all the contributing factors to our MSDs. When these MSDs are due to your work problem, due to your occupation, due to your job, we call it WMSDs, right? WMSDs are work-related MSDs, which can cause you. How do we know that I have the MSDs problem? It will be appearing like the symptoms are pain, numbness, and tingling, reduced workers' productivity, lost time work, temporary or permanent disability, inability to perform job, and increase in workers' compensation cost. Uh, the studies shows that in last many years, the absenteeism in companies are not due to the injuries. The absenteeism in the companies are due to the ill health problems, due to the illness problem, when the people are taking the leaves for medical purpose, although they are not being injured. Why? Because in our companies, most of the time, we don't focus on health issues. Rather, we only focus on safety issues. So we are waiting for any injury, then we can take the active work on it. But if a worker is working for 12-hour shift or 16-hour shift for the whole week, and he gets sick and he is getting the leave, so we don't consider as the absenteeism due to the illness or ill health. Rather, we say that he deserved the rest, or he is just getting the ill, so no problem, he can take the rest. So work related MSDs are very important to understand, because these kind of work related MSDs are causing too much absenteeism and reduce in the workers productivity, which can cause you the lost time from work and workers compensations cost. Yes guys, any question?
No.
Okay, good. Let's have a video about ergonomics. So a quick video. Can you see the screen?
No.
Okay. Now,
Yes.
can you
see the
hear?
screen?
Yes.
Can you hear?
No. The voice is really low for the now for the video.
I can't hear anything.
Yeah, we cannot hear.
Yes, me either.
Yes, guys, any question?
We could not hear the video.
You didn't hear anything?
No.
Did you see when I asked you guys, you didn't say anything, so I thought that.
We
No,
see, but we not hear.
Yeah, we said we can't hear.
Maafi mushkil. There is nothing to listen. It's everything was writing.
yeah, it was written, so
Okay,
it's
I think we understand.
Maafi mushkil. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yes, we can see the screen and hear you.
What is written here?
Permit
Permit
required,
requirement
confined
of
space.
space.
Do not enter.
Very good. So our next topic is about confined space. Confined space, as defined by OSHA, is a large enough and configured. How many of you have gone to confined space in your experience, work experience?
I worked in confined space.
Also me.
I also had an accident in confined space also.
वेरी गुड सर शेयर करें ना फिर कंफाइंड स्पेस ताकि लोगों को अंदाजा हो कि कितना खतरनाक हो सकता है कंफाइंड स्पेस.
Confined space is a space which we have limited access and exit, and I fell down in confined space from almost 30 meters height.
Allahu Akbar.
But alhamdulillah, I had injuries, but not a major injury.
What was the area there? I mean,
it was the column.
Was it tank or column?
Yeah,
okay.
It was a column. We were working in a column, and that tray inside the column was slipped, which we were using as a platform. Actually, it was a wrong practice. It would be scaffolding, but we tried to finish our job in a quick manner, quickly. So in try to finish the job, we had an accident and our job delayed almost for 3 days.
Exactly.
And also our company after that have too much investigations, and they have to pay for our medical treatment, almost 45,000 real bill in a Jambu Royal Commission Hospital.
Allahu Akbar. Right. See, these
and
are the real
production
life
loss for the 3 days.
experience. Exactly. These are, and maybe they will also have some sort of penalties and investigations all the time.
Yes, of course, they have our supervisors and managers have warning letters, and some also other penalties to them.
Exactly. See, sometimes we need to learn from other experiences rather than to make the mistake and learn from your own experiences. So confined space is basically is large enough and configured so an employee can enter and perform the assigned task. Confined space, again, whenever you are going to enter in the confined space, you need to train, right? You need to train. Anyone cannot enter in the confined space. What are the requirements? We will discuss in later slides. Also, it should have limited or restricted means. So confined space, what do you think? Is it floor hole or floor opening? Confined space.
It depends on the measurement. If it's confined space, floor opening, definitely, because you can person can fit through that.
Exactly. Very good. The confined space will always be a floor opening, because if it is less than 12 inches, then a person cannot fall, right? He can get the trip accident, but not the falling accident. If it's a baby, then it might be possible. Okay. So confined space has limited or restricted means of entry or exit, and it is not designed for continuous employee occupancy. What does it mean? That you cannot say that my office is in confined space, right? You cannot say that my office is in confined space. Whenever you are required to work in the confined space, your activity will be very controlled. You will go for the limited time and then you will come back just after finishing your activities. Confined space is considered as one of the major hazards all the time, right? Not only on the construction side, but also on the other sides. Uh, because in our companies, we have silos, we have tanks, we have drain channels available. So these are all considered as the confined space. And recently, a few months ago, there was an incident in India where 3 workers went to perform the job inside the confined space, and after some time, they would not be able to communicate with the fire watch or the person whole watch who was outside the confined space. So that whole watch, he went inside to see what happened with these guys, and unfortunately he was also stuck in the confined space. And then finally his supervisor, he went inside to check what happened to these guys, and he was also stuck in confined space. So at the same time, there were 5 deaths within few minutes. So confined space are very dangerous. Don't take the risk, even if you need to go simple in your tank, for example, in your home water tank or any other kind of tanks, because it has lot of gas which is being stored in the confined space, in the tanks, also on the drain channels. So it is considered as H2S gas, and which is very poisonous for human consumption. So NZ, sorry, yes.
Sorry, I'm cutting you off. Uh, I would like to add there was another incident that happened in Jeddah for Al Hadada company, I believe. They
Yes,
work with the tank. Actually, one of my relative, he used to work with that company, and he related to me that many laborers died inside the tank, and they were they were doing painting the inside of the tank, and it was summer heat, and due to that, many people died inside.
Right, right.
Last week in Riyadh also there was accident in confined space.
Yes, I also read that.
In big pipeline, I think 5 workers were died there.
Exactly.
So confined space is a very dangerous space. We need to focus when we are dealing with the confined space. Then we need to know that what is permit. The first thing we need to understand about the permit. How many of you are dealing with permit to work?
I am dealing with permit.
Yes, you are mashallah trained, you permit receiver.
I'm also dealing with permits, hot
Very
work
good.
permit.
How many types of permits you are dealing with?
Only one, actually, hot work permit, as we need to do brazing for the medical gas pipes.
Okay, good. So the first thing we need to understand that what is permit. Permit is, it is not the part of our course, but just to have a quick review, because we need to understand it is very commonly used in the companies. If you are on a construction side or a non-construction manufacturing side, still you will be using permit, and it is a very good control. Permit to work is our administrative control, and when we are dealing with the permit to work is an official document, or you can say it's an official authority to perform the job, right? There are two parties involved in the permit. One is called the permit receiver, the other is called the permit issuer. You can understand the importance of permit to work and the responsibility of those people who are going to sign the permit to work, that Aramco, Sabek, all these big companies, they need to have a proper 4 days program, sir, Mr. Naeem, 4 days program?
Five
For the
days.
5 days program, you have to take the 5 days program to understand the requirements of permit receiver, and for the issuer, the requirements are more higher, right? So
Yes, yes.
permit to work, it's a administrative control, and when you are dealing with permits, you are the in charge. You are taking the full responsibility for any accident or any hazard which is going to be appear, or any of the control which is going to have failed. Sometimes it takes hours and hours and days just to get the permit to work on, especially on the oil and gas sites. So they, because when they are issuing the permit, which means that they are also taking the responsibility. So both parties are involved if anything is going to be happen, any accident is going to be happen. uh, Permit to work, our OSHA standard or any Australian or UK based standard does not define a specified format for the permit to work, because the format is varying from company to company. According to your need, according to your usage, you are going to make the permit to work. Then, but there are certain types of permit to work which are very common. For example, if you need to perform any normal activity which does not require any hot flame or source of ignition, then you can use the normal cold work permit. For example, doing any maintenance activity, changing of valve. So this is called our cold work permit. If there is any cutting, welding, grinding activities being performed, then we have the hot work permit. And then if we need to work on height, then sometimes we are going to issue the working at height permit. If there is a crane involvement, then we are going to issue the crane permit. If we are need to work on the confined space, we are going to give the confined space work permit. So the categories of these work permit, again, it is not mandatory that every company should have the 5 types of permit to works available. It again goes to the company's own requirement. When you are designing the program for permit to work, then you need to decide that how many kinds of permits are applicable to our scope of work, and then we are going to use these kind of these permit to work system. Permit to work, sometimes it is being used with the contractors, for example, between client and contractor. And sometime even we have seen that the companies, they are using the permit to work system within the companies. For example, if they are asking the maintenance department to perform any activity in the production department or in any other department, so the production department is the issuer and maintenance department is the receiver, and they both do the inspection, apply all the controls, perform the risk assessment, and then they are going to sign the permit to work so they can start the activities easily. And in, again, as I told you that permit to work is a very good control, and permit to work is going to be issued for a limited interval of time. It is not like that you are issuing the permit to work one time and then forget about this work for next 6 months or for 1 week or for 2 weeks. Ideally, permit to work is required to reissue after every 8 hours, but in some companies, again, it is not a necessary requirement. They call it that, okay, you can take the issuance of permit to work for 24 hours, but in every shift you are going to make it again review. Both parties will review and they will make the signature that they have seen the conditions. When we are using the permit to work for confined space, which means that sometimes, as required by permit to work for confined space, that we need to monitor the gas time to time, sometime every hour, sometime every 2 hours, sometime every half an hour, depending on the criticality of the confined space. And there will be one person always be waiting outside who has who is not the part of the team who is performing the job in the confined space, but his job is, we call it whole watch, is to keep an eye on those people, or to keep a close contact with those people who are working in the confined space. So if they are suffering with any of the situation, then he is going to apply the rescue activities or rescue services, and they can take them out easily, rather than he is going inside to provide them the rescue services. Uh, uh, Mr. Naeem, could you please explain further that how many types of permit to work are required in Aramco or SABIC most of the
Uh,
time?
in SABIC, we have 5 permits. That is hot work permit, cold work permit, confined space, radiation, and electrical.
Okay, radiation and electrical. Very good.
Yeah,
And
five permits.
whenever you have the crane activity, it's a special permit which is going to be issued. Right?
In crane activity, we have lifting certificate and with hot work permit. Yeah, that is a certificate, lifting certificate.
Okay, very good, very good. Okay, guys, clear about work permit?
Yes.
It's a very good control, actually.
Yes.
So a work permit which is being issued for the confined space, we can say that our confined space will have the following characteristics. For example, contains or has the potential to contain hazardous atmosphere, contains material that has potential for engulfing. For the example, if the person is going inside, then he is going to stuck there, he is not be able to come out. Has internal configuration such that an entrant can be trapped or asphyxiated by inwardly converging walls, or by floor slopes downward and tapers to a smaller cross section. For example, if the person is getting asphyxiated, which means that due to less of oxygen, the person become unconscious. Contains any other safety or health hazard. So these are all the characteristics of confined space. For example, we have manholes, grain silos, trenches, tanks, and anything which is more than 4 feet in depth. What is atmospheric testing? There are certain controls which we need to apply while we are entering in the confined space. So the first control is to check the atmospheric testing, to perform the atmospheric testing. Nowadays, before the companies, the old mechanism was to check the atmospheric testing by means of the paper, like litmus paper. There are strips which they are going to use. But nowadays, then there was a time where we have the gas detectors. For every gas, there was a different detectors. But nowadays, the latest type of gas detectors, which are common for last couple of years, are called multi-gas detectors. These multi-gas detectors, they can detect many gases at one time. So those gases which are required to monitor during the confined space, they are going to detect, and you will know this before entering in the confined space. So if it is safe to go, then you are going inside and performing the task. Otherwise, first you need to take out these hazardous gas out from the confined space, then you can do your activity. For example, flammable gas, vapor, or mist in excess of 10% or of its lower flammable limit. So lower flammable limit is the limit which is the minimum flammable limit needed to ignite something, to get the fire. So for the flammable gas, which is in excess of 10% of its lower flammable limit, airborne combustible dust at a concentration that meets or exceeds LFL, atmospheric oxygen concentration below 19.5 or above 23.5, both are danger for human consumption, and any other atmospheric condition that is immediately dangerous to life or health. This is immediately dangerous to life or health is IDLH, right? IDLH, any condition that pose an immediate or delayed threat to life, or that could cause irreversible adverse health effect, or that would interfere with an individual's ability to escape unaided. When we say to escape unaided, which means that he is not be able to coming out without any support, without on his feet, or in simple words, that he is not be able to come out on his feet. So this is the situation. Sometimes the persons are going to have the deaths, sometimes the persons are going to have unconscious, sometimes the persons they have some other kind of injuries which are possible. We call them immediately dangerous to life and health situation,
or IDLH. Then oxygen deficient atmosphere, which is less than 19.5, oxygen enriched atmosphere, which is more than 23.5. Prohibited condition, any condition in permit space that is not allowed by the permit during the period when the entry is authorized. For example, when you are doing the activity, any condition on which any other person who is not allowed to enter, we call it prohibited condition. Rescue service, the personnel designated to rescue employees or permit spaces. We also call them hold watch. Retrieval services, the equipment which includes a retrieval line, chest or full body harness, wristless if appropriate, and a lifting device or anchor. These are all our retrieval devices, because these are the retrieval services or retrieval devices are those which are basically for the rescue of the persons who are working inside. So if they are connected with these rescue lines, with this, they are having full body harness, they are having appropriate lifting device or anchor available. So in case if there is no contact between them with the outside people, so the outside people, they can take them out easily by means of retrieval services. Otherwise, they cannot be taken out easily. So you can see that this is providing the atmosphere to the confined space. Then we have in construction, whenever we have the excavation more than 4 feet, it is considered as the confined space. And here we need to check the our all atmospheric testing because it might be possible that there is some potential for any kind of gas leakages, and the people, they should not allow to work without checking these atmospheric gases. What are the other hazards of confined space other than which are from the confined space? It includes electrical equipment, mechanical equipment, visibility, lights, claustrophobia, which is fear of darkness or dark phobia, and noise, radiation, temperature. These are all the possible hazards of confined space, because when you are dealing with confined space, definitely you are going to check the atmospheric testing. But apart from atmospheric testing, there are some other hazards which you can see in the picture. There is a pump or motor, and then we have loose wires here, then housekeeping issues, and then there is a possibility that any snake or any other insects are possible to come, which can make any problem or the damage to the human. This we have already discussed about. This is the ventilation equipment. Always remember that whenever there is a work which is going on in the confined space, we need to provide the means of ventilation. This could be provided by, from 1-2 openings, for example, air circulation by means of blower. But always remember that never provide the air by means of oxygen. Whenever there is a hot work is going on, you need to provide the ventilation, because in case of oxygen you are going to provide when the hot work is going on, the oxygen is also a very flammable gas, so it will also help in getting the flame rather than taking out the gases which are inside the confined space. You can see that these are different kind of equipment which are being used to check the gases. These are the detector tubes, old, and these are the instrument, multi-gas detectors, single gas detector. These we need to check. This is the permit. Most of the time you will find the space on the maintenance workshop, outside the maintenance workshop or the production workshop, where they are going to display the permit and the instructions. So anyone who is entering in this area, they will know that what are the areas which are where the activities are going on. Yes, guys, questions? Define confined space.
Space with limited entry and exit point.
Very good. Very good. IDLH. IDLH.
That is immediate or delayed life, something like that.
It means I don't like her.
Immediate
Immediately dangerous.
danger,
To life or
danger
health.
to life or health.
Health.
Imminent danger to life or health. That
Yes.
person.
Imminent danger for life and health. Right? Okay. As per confined space entry procedure, combustible gases must not exceed 10% of LFL at any time. This is not LEL, this is LFL. Okay. So true or false?
True.
True. Very good.
Right.
So what are the
True.
atmospheric testing we are going to perform while we are entering in the confined space?
One of them is oxygen
Oxygen.
concentration.
Very good.
Flammable gas.
Very good. And air combustible gases?
Oxygen level.
Air combustible gases, flammable gas, right?
Toxic gas.
You can see slide number 2. You will find all the testings which are needed to perform while we are working in the confined space. Okay, guys, let's see the video. Please confirm if you are be able to hear the sound and the
Yes,
speed.
we can hear.
Confined or enclosed spaces are potentially dangerous places. They may be tanks, silos, pipes, or anywhere you could be trapped. They are places where you could be affected by lack of breathable air, extremes of temperature, gas or dust, or loose powders or liquids that might engulf you. Before entering, you should know what the hazards are and how they will be controlled. You'll need a permit to work. How can you safely access an egress? Is there adequate ventilation for the work to do, like welding, painting? Is there adequate lighting? A safety plan should be in place to rescue an injured person. A safety attendant staying at the entry point should monitor all activities near to and within the location, but should under no circumstances enter the confined space. Almost all workers who die in confined spaces are trying to rescue other workers who fainted due to lack of oxygen or exposure to toxic gases. Don't just step in. Stop and think. A trained rescue team with breathing apparatus and other suitable PPE should be on standby. Throughout the job, there should be constant visual or voice communication between the safety attendant and the persons working inside the confined space. Ensure there is adequate ventilation. And ensure you have a personal gas monitor. Be aware that disturbing sludge or water on the ground may release toxic gases. Oxygen levels should be constantly monitored, especially if hot work is taking place. Barriers should be placed around all entry points to keep others away, and only authorized and trained persons may enter a confined space or act as a safety attendant. Are you prepared?
Yes, guys, are you prepared to work in the confined space?
Yes, sir.
No.
Yes, sir.
No.
ऐसे नहीं हो जाते. Yes, sir.
No.
You need to be trained.
No, we're not.
Sure, sir.
Okay, our next topic is about hazardous energy lockout tagout. I hope we don't need the break now, or we need the break.
Better take a break.
Continue.
Continue. I heard this word, continue.
Yeah, continue.
See, I'm trying to cover maximum things today, so tomorrow. Okay, let's have this. This will be maybe this one or after this last topic for today. So if we take the break, then
Lockout tagout.
Lockout. Nowadays we had lockdown. Remember?
Yes.
So this, you are familiar with this word, this kind of word. Okay. Hazardous energy and lockout tagout. This is our new topic. What is hazardous energy? Remember we discussed about hazardous material. What are the material we call them hazardous? How you are going to define the hazardous material?
Like chemical material, for example.
No, this is example. How? What is the effect? What are those?
Can injury harm to the worker.
Very good. Any material which can cause injury or harm, right, to the worker or the staff, we call it hazardous material. Similarly, any kind of energy which can be a possibility to affect the health or safety of a human, we call it hazardous energy. Those people who are working in the maintenance department, they are associated most of the time with the hazardous energies, right? Because they are having, you know, kinetic energy, potential energy, electrical energy, radiation energy. So these kind of energies are commonly found in the machinery or in our operations area. And the job of operator or the production is to run the machine, but to have the maintenance, it is more critical operation, where you sometimes you are having turned on the machine, sometimes the machine is partially on and partially off. So these kind of accidents which are relevant to the hazardous energy are possible, and these kind of accidents are going to give you not only the small injuries and bruises but up to the death. For example, if there is a you know, hydraulic line is there. So hydraulic line contains the hot oil. So if any of the you know, pipe or the line, which is very, most of the time they are very thin, not very big lines, if they are going to get bursted, so the hot oil, we have seen those kind of accident that this hot oil is going to get splash on the human body, and there the faces and the those areas which were not with the uniform, they are getting very severe burns. Similarly, if there are steam lines, there are air lines, you know, the pneumatic air they are using, there are some other high pressurized lines, gas lines. These are all the forms of different hazardous energy which can have effect on the human health. So to control these kind of energy, we need to develop the hazardous energy control program. We call it ECP, energy control program. Energy control program is going to provide the written policies and rules with your safety management that help to prevent injury to workers due to unexpected startup. Always remember this word unexpected, because the normal startup will be done by the operations people and they will be taking care for everything. But while we are working with the machines, especially in the maintenance, then there are unexpected startups are common, right? And a release of stored energy. For example, if you have not taken out the socket, but you have just turned off the machine by means of button, it might be possible that there is still stored energy is available. For example, if you are driving a car and you would sudden apply the brakes, so still the car is going to be moved because it has stored energy, right? When you are going to even turn off the engine, still the car will be moving because it has the. Similarly, when we are having fans, when you are going to turn off the fan, it is not necessary that once you are going to stop the fan, it is going to stop, but it will take time, right? And this kind of activity is due to the our stored energy, which is possible in machinery. Clear?
Yeah.
Lockout tagout. What is lockout tagout is also called LOTO, right? Is also called LOTO. In lockout tagout refers to specific practices and procedures to safeguard employees from the unexpected. See, this lockout tagout mechanism, this system of lockout tagout we can apply, it is similar to our permit to work system, right? Where you are going to give the authority you are going to give the authorization for performing any activity. So most of the time we have seen that logout tagout is also a part of permit to work system, because in permit to work you make sure that there is one of the requirement that have you log out tag out the machinery, have you log out tag out the breaker, have you log out tag out the panel. So where you are going to make sure that we have done this activity. Logout tagout is, as we can see by the name, it is lock, which means that you are going to lock the machinery or the breaker or the valve or the panel where there is a chance that any person can turn on this activity, which can cause unexpected energization of the machinery or the line, and the person who is involved in the maintenance activity, he can get the trouble. So the standard requires you that a designated individual turns off and disconnect the machinery or equipment from its energy source before performing services or the maintenance. This designated person is the person, for example, your maintenance operator or maintenance in charge, who is supervising the activity. He is the authorized person and he must be trained on these things. It is also required that an authorized employee either lock or tag out the energy isolation devices to prevent the release of hazardous energy and take steps to verify that the energy has been isolated effectively. So the other person, authorized employees, for example, someone from the who is going to issue the logs, logout, tagout, or someone from the safety department, they can come and they can verify that if all the stored energy has been released. So then they are allowed to perform their activities. Energy control program. Employer must establish an energy control program consists of three core parts: energy control procedures, periodic inspections, employee training, and retraining. So as a part of our energy control program, we need to do these three activities, that we need to have the written policies and procedures available. And when we are going to apply the energy control, for example, lockout, tagout, we need to have we need to perform the periodic inspections, and we need to train our people again and again to make their refreshers, so they can avoid any kind of accidents while they are working on machinery. Performing logout tagout, again it is deal with the unexpected energization. Remember always this word, an unexpected situation also cover the situation in which the servicing or maintenance is performed during ongoing normal operation. For example, if there is any part which is going to be stuck and you are going to take out this part, we have seen when I used to go to Coca-Cola and Pepsi to perform their audit, that we have seen that sometimes when they are dealing with the glass bottles, and due to the rotation, very fast rotation, high speed lines, they are going to get burst. So sometimes if the operators, they don't stop the machine due to the production load, they are taking out these glass pieces manually. So these kind of things are also covering as unexpected energization, when it is not necessary that the operator is intending to do this activity, but he is doing and the machine is going to be energized. But after that they make the control actions that whenever the operator or any of the finger is going near to the bottle, the machine is going to be stopped to avoid this activity from the operators, which was very hazardous activity. So a worker is required to remove or bypass the machine guards or other safety devices. A worker is required to place any part of his or her body into a point of operation or into an area on a machine or piece of equipment where the work is performed, or into the danger zone associated with the machine operations. Have you seen sometimes when you are going in the production department, there is a green line around the machine, then there is a yellow line around the machine, and then there is a red line around the machine. So these kind of markings are being performed when the machines are critical. So outside of green line, visitors are allowed. Outside of yellow line, the operators, they can start the machine and they can monitor from outside. And the red line is only allowed for if you have any troubleshooting in the machine, or it is very necessary to be there and to perform the activity. So the companies, they are applying different kind of controls to perform their activities. What are the steps involved in the hazardous energy control and program? Remember, our energy control program will consist of hazardous energy control procedure, periodic inspection, and training and retraining. How to do the energy control procedure, how to apply the energy control procedure: prepare for shutdown, shut down the machine, disconnect or isolate the machine from any other sources, energy sources, apply logout and tagout to energy isolating devices, so there is no chance for an unexpected energization, release, restrain, or otherwise render safe all potential hazardous stored or residual energy which is stored in the machine. If possibility exists for reaccumulating of hazardous energy, then we need to verify regularly with the periodic interval of time. So our maintenance department people who are working on the machine, they are not going to have any hazardous impact due to this activity. And once you are going to do these activities, then verify the isolation and de-energization of the machine. And this will be done by another competent person, not the person who is involved in this activity directly. You can see the different locks and tags physically, because these locks are like physical locks and these are the tags. Most of the time we are going to apply the locks, but sometimes the locks are not possible, so then we can apply the tags, especially outside when you are going to perform any activity, you need to apply the lock. Sometimes these tags are very light and they can go with the wind, or they can, when there is a rain are there, these kind of tags are going to be damaged. So these are different kind of locks. You can see that this is for the gate valve lock, electric plug lock, fuse lockout, and this is a box. In companies, most of the time we have seen that they have 2-3 full lockout kits or lockout box are available. So any of the maintenance supervisor or maintenance operator who is going to perform the activity on the machine, they take this and they are going to perform their activities. Any question?
Yeah, I have something to add there. Uh, as stated that there are different types. There are even kits available for example, for mechanical, for electrical. There are different packages for lockout, tagout kits. And another thing was that isolation, to check the isolation is really important during this lockout process, because sometimes someone has closed down and they did not isolate the energy, whether it's electrical mostly, and someone is going to put the tag and it gets electrocuted.
Right, exactly. So tag out or tag is the device or the card which is a prominent thing which we need to put when we are not be able to log out. Tag has the warnings available, tag has the number available, that sometimes you will find the tags which have the option for number available, that who has the key available for this lock, or to whom you are going to contact in case if you are going to remove the locks. Yes. Steps of hazardous energy control procedure. What are the 6 steps of hazardous energy control procedure? Yes, anyone? No one? Remember, prepare for shutdown, shut down the machine.
Shut down the machine. The third, disconnect or isolate the machine from the energy sources.
Very good.
Apply the lockout or target device to the energy isolation devices. And the five, release, restrain, and otherwise run safe or potential hazardous store or residual energy. And 6, verify the isolation and de-energization of the machine. That's all.
Very good, very good. And what are the components of energy control program?
Wait.
3 components, remember?
3, yeah?
When I say 3, then you are going to try. At
No,
least the
three,
other
no, three.
guys, they can see from the book. That's why I told you many times, keep the book with you. Keep the book with you.
What are the main components of the energy control program?
Yes. Energy control procedure.
Energy control procedure, periodic inspection, employees training and retaining.
Wow, excellent, excellent. I hope you are Marwan, right?
Yes.
Because we have the only intelligent guy, which I know is Marwan. The other are
Thank you so
most
much, Mr.
intelligent.
Anas.
The other are most intelligent. You are more, but the others are most.
Yeah.
Just giving others chance to say.
Yes, yes, I understand. Many of you, they know, but they are going to give the chances to others, which is very good. Okay, let's have the video. Yes, we have two videos, very short videos. Both of them are very short videos. So no problem. We can make it. One of them is the Napo, your favorite. Remember Napo?
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. So what are the lessons learned with this video?
Always make sure that every type of energy is isolated because whatever the machine is operating, it's an electromechanical machine. So mechanical, electrical both should be isolated, and then it should be tagged out or locked out.
Every
yes,
sorry,
yes, please.
Every one should have his own lock.
Exactly. Very good.
Every department. Yani
Don't
if
depend on
electrical,
others.
don't depend on others. Electrical, mechanical, or some other, they should put their own lock.
And these kind of activities mainly we have seen in when you have the shutdown activities where many of the teams are working on the same line or the same machine. So these kind of accidents are possible.
I personally witnessed one accident in the same situation. Our electrical department was working on a machine, and our one of our mechanical team member came to work there. He did not put his lock. When electrical finished, he removed his lock, and he knows that a mechanical team is working there. He went away, and the other team operator came and he energized this one. There was no mechanical lock, and our colleague lost his fingers in the chain of that machine.
See? Thank you so much, Naeem Saab, for your contribution. We are, I hope all of you are learning from the experience, guys, we have. And I always encourage our all participants that you should share your experiences which are directly happened to you or you have witnessed those experiences, because these are the real-time experience, and some of the participants in each course are new, they are youngsters, they don't know how the industries looks like and how to work in a bigger industries. So they think that the things are very casual, but the things are very much hazardous while you are working in companies or industries.
Yes.
So can you see the screen now? Yes.
Yes, we can see the screen.
Okay, good.
Sound
is
okay.
Good.
Sound is okay.
An electrician was working on an open electrical panel on a ship. He needed to add a new cable and attach it to a breaker within the panel. The electrician identified the isolation breaker that fed the entire panel on the schematic drawing. The electrician de-energized the breaker and properly tagged out. As the electrician was fitting the new cable into the panel, his left hand came into contact with the panel's main bus bars. 440 volts of current passed from the bus bars through his left hand, across his chest, and out his right hand that braced him against the panel, electrocuting him. At some point, the tagged-out isolation breaker had been cross-wired with another breaker. The electrician did not know that the panel he was working on was never de-energized. Let's look at some of the contributing factors that led to this fatality. Employees should verify the location of all energy isolation points. Employees must check or test electrical panels or electrically powered equipment to ensure they are, in fact, de-energized before working inside them or within the vicinity of exposed electrical circuits. Inform all contractors and subcontractors of the ship's systems and/or modifications to the systems prior to beginning work.
Yes, guys, any question?
No. But it's very saddening to hear that this type of things happen.
Exactly. So for tomorrow, inshallah, we will start our on the same time, and we need to finish. Now we have 1, 2, 3 modules which we need to cover tomorrow, and I hope within 1.5 hours or maximum 2 hours these will be covered, and then we will take the exam. Right, tomorrow, when you make sure that you are well prepared, this is the first thing, and the second thing that during the exam we need to turn on the videos. Right, it is a requirement of accreditation body that during the exam you have to turn on the video. So be prepared for these things. Find the peaceful environment somewhere at your location so you can sit and you can give the exam. Exam will be sent to you just before the time of exam. We will send on your email, and also we will send here on the chat. It will be in the form of Google link, Google Doc, so you can just fill it and submit, and then we will receive it. Right. So I'm not going to give you any extra homework today because you need to prepare yourself for the exam for tomorrow. So make it revision for everything. These videos are also available on the links or on our channel. So if you want to make revision, you can play these videos and you can make your revision and read your book, read your book, read your book.
Sure.
Right? Okay,
Right,
guys, thank you so much. Yes, please.
Any tips about the exam? Any?
Read your book, read your book, read your book.
That is the first and final tip.
Exactly.
Right.
Because the exam pattern we have already discussed about. After each slide we are discussing the questions. So in the exam there will be no such question which is coming outside of the pattern or outside of the book or outside what we discussed. Some of the questions will not be coming from the book, but they will be coming from the slides. So those who have those who have paid the attention on the slides or on our discussion, they will be able to give the answer very easily. Sure.
Definitely.
Inshallah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Be for both construction and industry, or it is only one type of exam? Or
no, actually, those who are needing the construction, we will share the construction exam, and those who will be needing general industry, we will be sharing general industry. Okay.
Right.
So, are there any guys who need the construction, or you are all for general industry?
Yeah, I am general industry from.
Anyone is having construction?
For civil engineer, is it better to go with construction industry, or he can also choose general industry?
See, the person having general industry, he can go anywhere, even in the construction side. They don't focus on, when they are asking for OSHA 30, they don't see that it is general or construction, right?
Okay.
But if you have construction, you will be limited. You cannot apply this in refineries, in industries, manufacturing, wherever maybe tomorrow you will be needing. But it's up to you. If you
Okay.
need the construction, we can share the construction example.
Okay, got it.
Still you have time.
Yeah.
Think and let
Yeah,
me know by
that's it.
tomorrow.
Okay, sir.
Thank you so much. Good night. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you.
Thank you. Walaikum assalam.
Assalamu alaikum.